So far away, Nisha, what's a product that it'd take $1 million for you to shill?
Probably any of the sports brands like Nike or Adidas, because I'm not a fan.
Oh, there we go. Because we're talking about that today, isn't it? Product placement is the movie-making equivalent of seasoning, in that it requires skill and finesse to add to a product so it doesn't become the only thing people notice when they're consuming it. I was quite proud of that line, actually. That took me 15 minutes to write, because I was like, there's a seasoning metaphor in here, and I'm going to figure out what it is, and I did, and I hope it worked quite well for the audience. So anyway, unlike seasoning though, product placement can be removed from a movie without ruining everything, as Reebok found out when something they paid $1.5 million for was excised wholesale from the film Jerry Maguire.
So I've not seen the film Jerry Maguire, so I don't know what it's about.
Well, Jerry Maguire is oddly enough about a guy called Jerry Maguire, played by Tom Cruise, who is a sports agent, and he becomes disillusioned with his job because he realises, it's a corporate soul-sucking gig where I don't actually make real connections to anybody. So he decides to become a sports agent who does exactly that, and it results in him getting fired.
Okay.
He's like, you can't be a nice guy and make money. In this world. And essentially the film is about sports, but I see it more as a character piece, and it explores the relationship between Tom Cruise's character, Jerry Maguire, a jaded sports agent, and Rod Tidwell, a professional football player played by Cuba Gooding Jr. And the thing about Jerry Maguire is that it's a really relatable film, because the whole thrust of the narrative is that Rod Tidwell wants $10 million.
That is a lot of money.
That's not hyperbole, that's not me making it up. The literal crux of the film is that Rod Tidwell wants $10 million. It's like, I'm a professional NFL player, get me some fucking money. It's like, you already earn millions of dollars, no, but I need $10 million fucking dollars. There's stuff in the film like he supports his entire family, and like this is how much he needs to do it. But at the same time, $10 million is such like just an astronomical amount. It's like nobody can relate to that. And I think by the end of the film, Jerry Maguire does get Tidwell a contract for like $11 million, so he does fulfill his promise. And that's how he shows people that his way of sports management, where it's like, I'm nice to my clients. I form a close relationship with a couple of clients instead of having like a bunch of them on my books that I don't give a shit about. And that helps me know them, and because I know them, I can sell them better to brands and sponsors and things like that. And it's good. It's a good message, but at the same time, like $10 million.
I'm just looking at the article you've written, and there's that picture of Rod Tidwell underneath. It says, "How could I possibly support my family on just $9 million a year?"
That's the one, isn't it? You hear that all the time with rich people. Like, oh man, like, how am I supposed to support my family on this wage? It's like they earn like $500,000 a year.
So Rod Tidwell wants to make $10 million to support his family.
Yes. Yeah, just $10 million. Just a small loan of $1 million is all he started with. God, do you remember that? From the start of the 2016, like 100,000 years ago. Donald Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and his actual defence was, no, when I started out in business, it was just with a small loan of $1 million. It's like, fuck
yeah,
you.
a small loan. Yeah, small.
A small loan of $1 million. Anyway, bringing it back to Jerry Maguire, the character of Rod Tidwell, understandably, like many real-world sportsmen, wants to supplement his already astronomical salary by doing product placements and brand endorsements. The problem is he's unable to secure any of those because brands think he's an arsehole. Something I want to mention about Jerry Maguire before we move on is that it might be one of the films that has the most Tom Cruise quotes in it, because this is the film that has "Show me the money" in it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and it's said like multiple times throughout the film. Just, show me the money. And it's like one of Tom Cruise's most famous quotes, isn't it?
Show me the money! That's it, brother, but you got to yell that shit! Show me the money! I need to feel you, Jerry!
So Rod Tidwell wants brand endorsements.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons he hires Jerry Maguire. It's like, well, you say you're good, like, you get me some brand endorsements, you get me the contract that I want, and then we'll see. And like by the end of the film, this is a feel-good 90s film, like all things are resolved. And the original plan was to have a Reebok ad, a literal Reebok ad, air over the credits to show that, in addition to getting his $11 million contract, Rod Tidwell also managed to get even more money because he got fucking paid by Reebok. And behind the scenes, Tristar Pictures, who were helping make the movie, inked a deal with Reebok for $1.5 million to include, and I reiterate here, a literal ad in their movie they were charging people to go and see. And Nisha, we talk a lot on this channel about product placement, and in particular bad product placement. And do you have any just particular favourite, really cringy moments of product placement? Because the one I always like to bring up is the Pepsi product placement from World War Z, where you see Brad Pitt chugging that Pepsi to get his paycheck. And you can tell he's not fucking enjoying it. That's what makes it so good. Because they was about to do multiple takes of that scene.
I don't know if you'd say it was bad or cringy, but I always find it hilarious in Wayne's World when there's just that segment where they've just got all the brands like Pizza Hut, Pepsi, even like Reebok as well, where they're doing it really sarcastically.
Well, that's where I see things just a little differently. Contract or no, I will not bow to any sponsor. Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but for me, the beast doesn't include selling out.
Which, if I remember correctly, they did actually get paid to do that.
Oh, did they?
But because they did it in a self-aware, sarcastic way, you kind of let it slide. The other one that I like, though, is I think it's Hawaii Five-0, where they have a Subway product placement in an episode that's like 3.5 minutes long, and it is a guy eating like 5 Subway sandwiches at once with all the logos facing the camera, just eating them one by one. It's like, I'm on the Subway diet, and they have a full 2-minute conversation about the fact he's eating Subway. It's like, this is a TV show. This is a show people are paying, like, their cable subscriber, whatever the fuck, to watch. And there's ads in between, like, you know, these segments of a guy shoveling, like, Subway into his mouth, like, yeah, I'm on the Subway diet.
But the best thing about it, they make it anywhere you want it. Check this one. It's sweet onion chicken teriyaki with jalapenos with banana peppers. Now you put that with this, turkey BLT, bam! And
the thing is, like, yeah, that is kind of bad, but when we're talking about a sports movie that revolves around an NFL star, like, you can kind of understand it, because doing really on-the-nose, cringy, like, brand endorsements is par for the course for superstar sportsmen. Like, look at all the shit Michael Jordan did. He's on the front of, like, Wheaties boxes and Gatorade and all that bollocks.
Oh, yeah, Gatorade, yeah.
Yeah, it's par for the course for, like, sportsmen to do those kind of endorsements. And one of my favourite ones from recently, because, like, is Mo Farah. If people don't know who Mo Farah is, he's a very talented long-distance runner from the UK. I believe he's got a couple of Olympic medals under his belt. And whenever I go to one of the shops near me, which is a discount shop, I should point out, there is just endless boxes of Mo Farah branded dieting snacks.
Oh, God.
And I look at them, and, like, obviously we're in the discount shop, which means that these things have not sold anywhere else, and this shop has got them on the cheap because they're nearly out of their sell-by date because they've just sat there for so long. And I found myself thinking, like, Mo Farah, by all accounts, is a very nice guy. He's a very talented sportsman. He's not someone who can sell a product because he's got no charisma whatsoever. Like, every year in the UK, they have the Sports Personality of the Year award. And every year, when they announce that, it trends. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Because I think one year it was won by an equestrian.
All right.
Like, Sports Personality of the Year, a person who rides a horse no one knew the name of. Great, what a personality that person is. I'd rather the horse one. Something I should point out is that this fictional ad starring Tidwell was filmed and included in early cuts of the film. It was wisely cut because the producers and directors realised, oh my God, this is bad. Like, even though it's supposed to be cringy, it's supposed to be self-aware, it's fucking bad. Also, it kind of destroys the tone of the film. Because, like, you know, it's a happy, feel-good ending. It's like, wow, everything wrapped up nicely. I'm glad that that story ended. And it's like this awful, cringy ad. It's like, what is this? Please get rid of this. So the producers just took it out.
Oh, no. All right, so where does Reebok being bad mouth come in when the advert was cut from the film?
That ad was supposed to be a callback to an earlier part of the film when Tidwell and Jerry Maguire, they're having a conversation about the fact that Tidwell cannot get any sponsors, and he goes on a big rant about all the sponsors who don't want to talk to him. And he calls out Nike, he calls out Energizer, and then he says, and let me tell you about Reebok. And Jerry Maguire's like, look, I've not got time to hear you complain. And Tidwell goes, no, let me just sum it up for you. Fuck Reebok! Directly to Jerry Maguire, who is basically studying, so it's like to camera.
Fuck Reebok.
And the joke was supposed to be that at the end of the film, he said, Tidwell got signed by Reebok for a brand endorsement, but when that brand endorsement advert was cut out, all you have is Cuba Gooding Jr. saying to camera, fuck Reebok. And that was the only mention of the brand in the entire film.
Oh no.
The best part about this is that Reebok did not know that the advert had been cut. Because obviously they had some involvement with the film. They provided some stuff for them to use in that advert. They signed off on the ad after it was sent to them for approval. Like, yep, that's perfect. That's where our $1.5 million is going. Then the film comes out and the advert's nowhere to be seen. But the line of fuck Reebok absolutely is. And as I said, like, Jerry Maguire is a very quotable film, and fuck Reebok is a very quotable line. Because keep in mind, like, Tidwell is a very likeable character. He acts like a prick in the film, but Cuba Gooding Jr. is like, a great actor. He has a lot of presence, so you end up liking him. So when he's there, like, yeah, Reebok don't want to talk to me. They're a bunch of fucking pricks. Like, you find yourself agreeing with, like, yeah, fuck Reebok, man. And that's never resolved, ever. So you're just left with that. Reebok weren't happy, and they sued the ever-loving shit out of Tristar Pictures, who had to pay an out-of-court settlement, rumoured to be in the region of about $9 million. So yes, Reebok did get their money back, but I don't think that's the point here, because paying for a sponsorship like this, or an ad like that, is it's not about making money from sales, it's about, raising your brand's profile. By being associated with a very good film, with good actors in it, that ends up being, very famous and very quotable and very popular. I'd argue that suing someone in court to destroy their own creative vision, to include an ad for your shitty shoes, probably does the opposite of that. But hey, $9 million, which is less than Tidwell got.
I was going to say, that's not enough to support a family, though.
It's not, is it? Apparently not. Not those executives. So Nisha, in the same vein as Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character in this film, just saying fuck Reebok, let's right now just say fuck off to some products or brands that we don't like or have a grievance with for any reason whatsoever. And I'm going to start with Nintendo. Like, we're in my bedroom right now, that's where we're filming for the foreseeable future. I've got my Nintendo Switch. And I play my Nintendo Switch all the fucking time. But fuck Nintendo, because here we go. People don't know the Nintendo Switch. Boom. 2 Joy-Cons. That's how you control things. Both of them have drift. If people don't know what drift is, that means that these little things here that you use to control your character or move your camera around, constantly pulling to one side.
Yeah, we've got that as well.
Constantly. These things cost £50 each. Not for the pair, each. One of these things is worth 50 quid and it's fucking brock. Bollocks. And Nintendo are arguing in court right now that it's not a problem. No one cares. Well, right now, it's a fucking problem for me. Fix that shit. Fuck Nintendo. So, Nisha, in that same vein, any brands you want to say, just like, fuck you?
Considering what's happened this past year, and obviously a lot of people have struggled with jobs and businesses and stuff like that, I want to say fuck Wetherspoons.
Oh, fuck Wetherspoons. Who is it who's in charge of Wetherspoons? Is it Tim Martin?
Hold on, let me double check.
Because one of them's the Sports Direct and there's Wetherspoons.
Sports Direct is Mike Ashley.
So Sports Direct and Mike Ashley, fuck them as well.
Yeah, that was my second business one. Is like Wetherspoons is Tim Martin.
Yeah, fuck Wetherspoons and fuck Tim Martin. Pay your staff. What a prick he was. Start of lockdown. What do you say to your staff who are not getting any furlough pay, but people who work in Tesco are? It's like, go get a job at Tesco. Then it's like, fuck you. What a prick. I have vowed to never step foot in a Wetherspoons again as long as I live. That is my solemn. I even downloaded that app, the Neverspoons app. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You know, there's an app. It's called Neverspoons, which directs you to a pub that's not a Wetherspoons. It's like fucking two right. Fuck Wetherspoons and fuck Sports Direct.